My name is Miguel Hampton. I am an entrepreneur, small business owner, community activist, leader, father, exhausted of having the conversation. I want to truly see us arrive where equality and equity is real and not just this hypothesis in the air. So while I have your attention, you should know, being black is not a threat. I'm full of emotion, truly. On one hand, I'm sad and I'm angry about the deaths that continue to happen at the hands of the police department across the country. On the other hand, I'm excited and I'm optimistic and to some degree empowered by the civil unrest and the protests that are happening and the coalitions that are being formed as it relates to maybe finally addressing the real issues of racism in America. My experience of being black in America, wow. In the beginning, it was waking up and just being Miguel, not wanting to be black anywhere. I just wanted to be a person. I wanted to be an American. I've learned that I have to be articulate. Otherwise, I'm discounted in America. I have to be smart or I'm discounted in America. Being black in America means learning how to survive in a hostile territory. You know, being chased home by the kids in the community, calling me nigger and being jumped by multiple white folks throughout grade school and high school. But that experience was in the 80s. That experience was throughout the 90s. I remember the first time that a cop put his gun to my head. I think I was probably a sophomore or junior in high school. I worked for Claire's earlier in my career, and on my first day, my employees, for whatever reason, thought it was interesting to hang a monkey from my desk. I'm their boss. And I remember calling my mom like, what do you do with this? Right? All these people work for me, right? And they hung a monkey. Maybe it's just a joke. Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's not prejudice. And I remember questioning it. But then I later learned that we were in the process of being sued. In Utah, where the population is 1% African American, it just so happens that a young black man walks into one of our stores. Now, mind you, we sell fashion and hip hop and street gear, right? Walks into one of our stores and asks for an application. He's accompanying a few of his white friends, and our employees tell the young black kid, we have an application for everybody but you. That was a really interesting thing, both in a covert and an overt way, because not only did we as an organization, as a company, as a corporation, openly discriminate against our own target audience, right? The demographic that we want to buy our product. But they threw me in a situation without telling me. That was challenging in itself. But over the years, depending on the company that I've worked for, the industries that I've been in, that's been a consistency. You know, sitting on a GLI board or sitting on a 1SI board, it's kind of common for white folks to say, hey, what's it like to be the token on the board? That's kind of a norm. My experience of being black in America is kind of a dream and a nightmare, right? We live in a country where it says anything is possible unless you're black. My message to people who are white that want to be allies, my first question is why? Why do you want to be an ally? I've had a lot of allies in my life, and I've had a lot of friends. And there's a difference between being an ally and being a friend in this fight. You know, America's been at war as it relates to racism for a really long time. And over the years, we've always had allies. You know, the challenge with being an ally is that today you fight with us and tomorrow you have a new agenda. And your agenda is no longer eradicating racism, but maybe being a key holder to white privilege because you don't see them being the same thing. I'd ask my white friends to be really clear about what it is that you want out of this, what it is that you're really wanting to fight for and fight with us for. This is messy. This is a scary thing to fight. There will be casualties, both economically, socially. Do you have the stomach to step in this arena and truly make cultural change in order for racism to be removed from the United States, our systems? My mother used to tell me that in the midst of chaos, if you want to find peace, stand in the middle of it. If you're frustrated, if you're feeling that you've lost power in this relationship to this struggle, I would tell you to stand still. I tell you that things are changing. They may not be changing at the speed that we want them to, but impacts are being made. You know, every day I see, right here in Louisville, people protesting for justice for the death of Breonna Taylor. That's encouraging, right? The energy to keep moving forward. Getting involved politically, you know, is another. Running and or seeking office is another. Voting is another. There are so many things that we have to do as a people to bring justice and equality to this country. I think we have to have a clear picture of what the end looks like. It's not just a fight here and a fight there. These are battles that we're tackling. And we can win the war to eradicate racism in the United States. I believe we can. My closing thoughts as it relates to getting through the rest of 2020 and going into 2021. This is a time to reach out to the people just to say hello and ask how they're doing. Because so many of us are facing so many different obstacles. I don't believe it's gonna get better sooner. I just don't have that kind of optimism. I do believe that we can make our inner circle safer. I believe that we can have more conversations that will lead to action. And I think as long as we continue as a group, as a family, as friends, as allies, begin to have these conversations and move into action, we'll find peace. And I think at the end of this war against racism, against police brutality, against all the disparities that exist because of the construct of this country. My daughter said something. She said, "Dad, the system isn't broken. It's designed to do exactly what it's doing." This is my 16-year-old. And I had to pause and I had to look at her and I had to say, "You're absolutely right. We have to stop trying to fix something that's not broken. But we have to redesign something. We have to redesign the system for what we actually and truly want it to be." The founding fathers of this country are not my heroes. They created this system. Now, they may have had a great idea with some great wisdom, but the reality of it is that people that look like me were slaves when they did it. And if we're gonna remove racism, I believe the year 2020 and 2021 is the time that we redesign America to be exactly what we as a people want it to be.
What does that look like?
It looks like me not getting a ticket in front of my house because I'm black. It looks like being able to drive down the street and not being afraid of the police officer who may or may not be pulling me over or just passing by. It looks like fair wages for people of color in comparison to their counterparts. You know, it looks like my daughter not having to answer this question. It looks like watching her grow and her kids being able to play in the streets, regardless of where she lives. It looks like not walking down the streets of New Albany and being called the N-word. It looks like police officers not grabbing black women and slamming them to the ground while they let a white man walk for the same crime, or for just standing on the side of the sidewalk and protesting. Yeah.